If you do not use a local install tool, the second type of tool that you may be using is what we call the server-based tool. For example, Cisco Prime Infrastructure. These tools typically are management tools for your entire network. And when you add Wi-Fi to your network, you tell the tool where your Wi-Fi access points are, and the tool allows you to see the heat maps of your different coverage areas. And then if at some point you need to expand your coverage to some more area or some additional locations, then you can use this management tool to either extend the coverage on existing maps or bring new maps into the tool where you can show where the coverage would be looking like if you were to deploy Wi-Fi there. The great advantage of these tools is that they are management tools, so they already are managing your existing network. So when you add new access points, they already know your RF environment. Plus, they already know where your existing access points are, so you can take the existing deployment into account when planning for the new access points. Of course, the downside of these tools is that they need a server. Most of the time, they are license-based, and you only deploy these tools really if you need to manage an existing network. You would not install these tools only for planning purposes. They would be great to extend a network, not necessarily to create maps for plannings only. Although some people use these tools for that purpose. So let's look at an example, which is in Cisco World, Cisco Prime Infrastructure. So here I am on the Cisco Prime Infrastructure, and you see that one interesting item, and I won't cover everything, but one interesting item of Prime Infrastructure is this map concept. So here I have many campuses because it's a Cisco demo network, and let me open one of these locations, one random locations, to see how you can see the existing network. So here I have a building. Inside this building I have a floor, and on that floor plan I have some access points already deployed. So you see on that tool I already see my access points, and I see what kind of coverage I have on those access points. The good thing is that because it's managing an existing network, I can manage my access points as well. And you see some of them are green, which means everything is fine for those access points. Some of them are yellow, which means there is a slight problem for those access points. And that's the big strength of that kind of management tool. That is that I can go there, check my existing network, and if there is any problem with those access points, I can get in, click those access points, see what the problem is, and solve the problem. I can also add some new access points, some new maps, some new floors, manage my controllers, manage my switches. There is a lot of things I can do from that tool. But one strength it has as well is when you are on the map, go to this planning mode. And that planning mode allows you to assume that you want to add more access points to that existing map and see what would happen if you were to do so. So when you click go, it opens a new window, and that new window is going to display your map, and from that map you're going to be able to decide what area you want to cover. So here I have an interesting case where my map is triangular and my coverage area is a rectangle, but I'm just doing it fast to show you how things work. So what I want to do here is go and click add access points because I want to add some access points to this existing map. And when I click add access points, a new interface shows up where I can refine the coverage area I want to have for that network. I'm not going to spend time modifying my coverage area to make it match my map. What is interesting for you to see is that you can modify it if you want to. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you can choose what type of access point you want to add to that network. So for example, let's choose a 3700 AP. And you can decide if you want to use the internal access point antenna, the external antenna, if you want to cover for 11A, 11BG, and you can have also many options where you can decide if the coverage you want is for pure data, or if it's also for voice and location. And you can also decide of a safety margin. That margin says how much overlap do you want between your access points. 20%, as we said before, or you want to be more aggressive with a 15% overlap, or more conservative with a 25% overlap, for example. So depending on the application you're designing for, you can choose more or less coverage area. So you design a network, your requirements, and then you go calculate, and the tool is going to tell you how many access points you would need to provide that type of coverage to that map. And when you click apply to map, it's going to tentatively position some access points on that map. Of course, in my case, my coverage area is larger than my building, so I get access points outside, which do not make much sense. But if you did your job well and you were mapping to match your map, you would get access points only inside. But even if you do get access point outside, on this kind of tool, what you can do as well is to work with your access points. So you can check some access points, remove them from your map. You can also select access points and move them also on your map. So you just do some changes, you click apply, and that's going to modify the result of your coverage area. Another big strength is the synchronize tool, where you can say, I have some existing access points already. What kind of access points would I need if I were to keep the access points I have already? And the tool is going to analyze the access points you have already in your network, and based on these existing deployments and the existing coverage area, the tool is going to estimate how many more APs you would need or not for that coverage. And in my case, it says with the 3 APs you have the coverage you need. So that's perfect. I don't need more access points. If I want to publish a report about that result of my study, I can click that button, and then it's pretty much like Ekahau. I'm going to generate a proposal that can be exported as a PDF where I have all my assumptions, my maps, my coverage, etc., and I can share that result with whoever I did this job for. So that's the server-based tool.